Hi everyone, today we're taking a look at a new product from one of the hardest working brands in the bass amp world. Also a brand that really fits all bass players' needs, including home and bedroom players. I'm sure you all know them already. Phil Jones Bass updated their product line again. Their 7-inch speaker cabinet series now has its smallest model yet, the C-17. Don't let the size fool you. This little cabinet is a serious powerhouse. After years of real-world feedback from its bigger brothers in the same series, and by learning from the success of popular models like the Micro 7 and Bass Engine 17, Phil Jones decided to release a cabinet that's even more suitable for home practice. Maybe you felt this before. Small combos for home practice always feel a bit of a lacking when you want to turn things up and really enjoy the sound every now and then. Or you're already on a big amp, but you don't really want to piss the neighbors, while turning it down kind of makes the tone feel soft, lacking details and clarity. That's exactly where the C-17 comes in, especially when you already have a head you love. With its monitor-style design, the C-17 reproduces a natural tone of your bass and your amp head as faithfully as possible. As for the appearance, the C-17 comes in the classic black finish, and there's also a mint green US exclusive version. The leather-textured covering and compact size give it a very refined look. Weighs only 5.9 kilograms, making it one of the most portable separate cabinet solutions on the market. Inside, it uses PJB's classic 7+3 speakers configuration, with a rear reflex port. The cabinet is rated at 100 watts at 8 ohms. Although the outer dimensions are similar to the Micro 7, the C-17 doesn't need space for built-in preamp or power amp. That means about a quarter of the internal space has been freed up, increasing the cabinet volume significantly, and that makes a big difference in how it sounds. Normally, small cabinets, especially combos with less depth, tend to sound tight and a bit thin because of limited internal volume. With the C-17, the increased cabinet space gives the low end more openness and deeper extension. Surely, the cabinet volume is a delicate balance. Too large, the transient response becomes slow and mushy. Too small, the sounds become stiff and lifeless. Phil Jones carefully tuned the design based on the physical specs of the speakers, including optimizing the crossover point between the two drivers. The goal was to get the best possible tone from this speaker setup in such a compact cabinet. When first lay eyes on a cabinet this small, many bass players who haven't tried it usually wonder the same thing. Why does PJB's design always stand out compared to everyone else's? Most brands go with 8-inch speakers as their smallest option. The most common formats are usually 112 or 210, and even the smallest one are usually 110. Very few brands go this far in pursuing ultra-compact modular cabinets. To understand this, we need to look at two aspects: design philosophy and supply chain. First, the design philosophy. Phil Jones believes that modern bass amps shouldn't just chase big, heavy low end. They should focus on absolute clarity on each note and extremely fast transient response. This becomes especially important in styles like solo playing or slap and pop, where the speakers must be fast and precise. So he abandoned the traditional large speaker approach and started pushing the limits of small drivers instead. He essentially gave small speakers the heart of the large ones: oversized voice coils and powerful high-flux magnets. Combined with long excursion designs, specially engineered suspensions, and surrounds with material of highest elasticity, this dramatically increases the amount of air the speaker can move, no less than those bigger ones. When you run two cabinets together, the push of air movement is very close to 10-inch or even 12-inch speakers, while still maintaining the extremely tight control that large speakers often struggle to achieve. If a large speaker is like a sledgehammer, powerful but a bit slow, then PJB small drivers are like a group of trained boxers. Quick punches, precise power, and steady recovery. As long as you are not pushing into extreme sub-bass, the drivers always operate within their comfort zone, stay controlled and accurate. From the supply chain perspective, bass amps are actually a pretty niche and specialized market. Most brands just simply choose off-the-shelf drivers from the suppliers' catalogs. Stronger brands might go with ODM customization, modifying existing designs to suit their needs. Now, don't get me wrong, these are actually pretty common and practical solutions, but they do come with limitations. Since the design and manufacturing are handled by different companies, there must be compromises between existing manufacturing process and ideal design when pursuing extreme performance. Phil Jones approached things differently with a brand new perspective. He spent many years in the high-end hi-fi industry. His AirPods 3.1 system even won a Golden Sound Award in the audio world. That almost obsessive pursuit of sound quality became the core spirit of the PJB brand. More importantly, thanks to experience as a chef designer at major audio companies like Edifier, PJB has something very few brands possess: full chain independent R&D capability. That means they don't have to choose from existing parts. With strong in-house R&D and supply chain support, they can start from the very basics, designing the voice coil, magnets, and driver parameters specifically for bass playing dynamics. This is not just assembling parts. It's essentially rebuilding the instrument amplifier from a hi-fi perspective. Because of this approach, bass players can get studio-level accuracy and dynamics from an incredibly small cabinet. But don't count on my words alone. In the demonstration section coming up, I'll compare the C17 with several bass amps of different sizes and price ranges for rough reference. This includes PJB's own Bass Engine 1.7, the extremely popular home amp. We'll also try a C4 with a D400 head, a TC Electronic BH250 with a 2.8 combo, the more hi-fi oriented Aguila GS112, and the classic Ampeg BA115HP. For this test, the C17 will be paired with PJB's entry-level head, the BP200. We'll record both a single cabinet and a dual cab setup, which gives the best performance. For the best experience, please do listen with headphones. After spending some time with this setup, my personal takeaway is that every amp brand has its own strength. Some focus on features, some on colorful tone shaping, and others on raw character. They're all good in their own way. But what makes the PJB C17 with BP200 stand out the most are three things: speed, precision, and stability. The frequency response is very flat, the tone is clean, and the dynamic response follows your playing extremely closely. Every subtle movement of your fingers comes through clearly. It's honestly surprising how much energy comes from such a small cabinet. Even at high volume, there's none of the common issues you hear in cheap small cabs. No air leaks or port noise. This is owed to careful engineering, tight driver mounting, optimized port airflow design, and precision in manufacturing process. From build quality to sound performance, this is clearly a refined boutique-style design, very different from the rugged large cabinet philosophy many other brands follow. Some people might wonder, since it looks similar in size to PJB small combos, what's the real difference, especially consider the higher price? The most noticeable difference is the power it offers. With the BP200 head, the C17 can deliver around 100 to 120 watts at 8 ohms. That extra power headroom gives the speakers more punch and reduces distortion when things get loud. The sound feels stronger and more focused. Most small combos usually sit around 50 to 80 watts, which can feel a bit soft by comparison. Also, because the C17 is a pure cabinet design, it has more internal volume without amp electronics inside. That improves the depth and openness of the low frequencies. However, it's still physically difficult for cab this size to fully reproduce the 3.9 Hz fundamental of a low bass string, but it captures the key harmonic range around 6 to 80 Hz extremely well. With such clear and solid tone, your brain naturally fills in the rest, making the bass feel deep and powerful. If you want the ultimate experience, I highly recommend stacking two C17 cabs. Not only does it look cooler, but acoustically, it's a big upgrade. Two 8-ohm cabinets in parallel create a 4-ohm load, doubling the current output of the amp head. Combined with acoustic coupling between speakers, the total sound pressure level increases by about 6 dB, which is a very noticeable jump. Placed on the floor, you also benefit from natural low-frequency reinforcement. The bottom cabinet strengthens the bass, while the upper one sits closer to ear level. The result is the full sound, solid lows, rich mids, and smooth highs. It really unlocks the full potential of the whole system. Another great thing about the C17 is how flexible it is with different amp heads. It's not picky and also very revealing. For instance, when I used the TC Electronic, the slightly digital character of its preamp became immediately noticeable. Switching to our Mark bass Little Mark tube, the warm tube texture came through clearly. This kind of reference-level transparency is perfect for players who enjoy exploring different tones. Personally, I recommend pairing the C17 with a head rated around 200 to 300 watts at 4 ohms. That way, a single 8-ohm C17 receives around 100 to 150 watts. With two cabinets connected, the amp runs at 4 ohms, fully utilizing its power reserves, which gives you plenty of power supply. Unlike small combos that struggle with deep bass, this system stays relaxed and controlled. On small stages, it can easily hold its own even with a real drum kit. Of course, for very large spaces or extremely heavy music, you might want to consider larger PJP cabs like the C47 or C67. If you are unsure what head to choose, the PJP BP200 is definitely a no-brainer. Its features are simple, just a 3-band EQ, DI output, aux input, and headphone jack. But the signal quality is excellent. It carries that signature PJP hi-fi clarity, focusing purely on reproducing the natural sound of your bass. So if you're planning to upgrade your home practice amp, or if your big stage rig is just sitting in the corner because it's too loud for home use, the BP200 plus dual C17 setup could be a killer solution for both home practice and small gigs. Alright, and that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I really hope this video has been helpful. Do hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. I'll be seeing you next time. Take care, bye bye.